You're listening to the Health Coach Nation podcast. My name is Hailey Rowe, and I'm a business coach for online health coaches who want to attract their ideal clients, stop feeling defeated by their never-ending to-do list, balance a healthy lifestyle with their growing business, and stop over-analyzing what everybody thinks of them so that they can confidently own their message and online presence. On this podcast, we dive deep into health information you can share with your clients, business strategy tips, and more. Let's get to it. Guess what? I have a new training for you. It is my free Overwhelm Masterclass and cheat sheet. And when you leave a written review on iTunes on the Health Coach Nation podcast and you email info@haileyrowe.com with the subject line podcast review and a screenshot of your review, I will email you the free Overwhelm Masterclass and Overwhelm cheat sheet. So I cannot wait to share it with you, and thank you so much for being a listener on this podcast, sharing your valuable time with me. And now let's get into the episode. Thank you so much.
All right, hello everyone. I am super excited today to be here with Andrea, who has an amazing wellness brand, and she is a personal trainer. She can help you with your nutrition. She helps people lose inches and stop their nagging pain. I read your Instagram bio. And what we're going to be doing today here with Andrea is a super quick, focused, laser mini coaching session. And Andrea is going to fill you guys in on her business and some of the struggles that she's having, which I'm sure you guys probably will be able to relate to her. And we're going to just talk a little bit about a few initial action steps that she can take to start to turn things around. And this is the first time we're actually doing this on the page here today. So if you have any questions afterwards, or you personally are like, wow, that would be super cool to have a hot seat session, you can go to haileyrowe.com/strategy-call and apply to see if you might be our next hot seat guest. So Andrea, thank you for coming to the show. And why don't you tell us what you do in a nutshell and what brought you to the show as far as what you're struggling with right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Andrea Wise. I have been in the fitness industry for over 16 years, mostly, brick and mortar, managing group fitness, personal training, nutritional coaching. And last year I started to work with people online because I wanted a little bit more flexibility. I wanted to have more reach and a larger impact. And I do really, really well with people face to face and always have and have been very successful. And the shift into doing things online and remotely it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done. And I have had a brick and mortar. So it's just been really, really interesting to me to kind of see what's out there and how things are saturated and who's doing really well and like who's kind of struggling. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought this up because it is so true that in the online world, you do have to be more specific with your marketing, with your niche, because it is so, everybody can coach virtually versus when you're local. It's a lot easier. You're kind of a bigger fish in a smaller pond. But you're in Chicago, so so am I, by the way, so we'll have to meet at some point. But
for sure.
Anyways, so yeah, I get what you're saying. Now, when it comes to your form, the main two things, it was super simple. It's just, I want more clients and I want to learn about copywriting. And when I was looking at your Instagram before this episode and your website, your copy is great. I mean, your copy is, yeah. So I don't think, and this is so common. Now, obviously there's some things we could change as far as the urgency goes and the calls to action goes, but this is so common where I talk to people where they think the problem is their copy or they have this beautiful brand and you have a good following. Like you have about over 8,000 followers on Instagram, and there's people who have much less than that who are booking clients online. So the good news is you're in a really good place. The thing that is interesting to me is that you're not booking clients. So I want to hear, or you're not as often as you'd like to be, because I think before this episode you filled me in that a few things have changed because you filled out that form a really long time ago. So let's talk about where you feel you're really struggling, and also where are your clients currently coming from?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and I'm actually also in LinkedIn. So traditionally speaking, with my in-person clients, I worked with a lot of executives and a lot of higher level people, you know, who just kind of need everything streamlined for them. And those people aren't necessarily the people that are on Instagram and or on Facebook for the most part. So what I've tried to do and offer is understand that in my messaging, so that people understand that I'm not just talking about nutrition, I'm not just talking about training. We're really talking about your specific life and a holistic approach so that you can build sustainable habits, because a lot of times people get into something and they get on some specific program that works while they're on it, and then when they go back to their regular life, then all the wheels come off and they're back where they started. So I've tried to make that a really big piece of my messaging. But what you just said was sometimes that's like too broad.
Totally. Yes. So I do think that when I looked at your bio, it was clear. Like in 2 seconds, I knew, okay. And by the way, everyone, her username, I'll just put it in everybody can go follow Andrea. Her username is Andrea_Wise_. And we can put the link in there too later. But so anyways, your bio is strong. It's I help professionals lose inches, fix nagging pains, and design healthy habits for life. The healthy habits for life, that's going to vary, obviously, based on your ideal client. But is there anything when you've worked with these local clients and they've signed up with you? I have 2 questions because this is going to be key for your online copy and marketing. Have they said, like, what has caused them to be like, I'm in, sign me up, usually?
One, I'm a really good listener. And I am listening to what their problems are and giving them solutions for them. It's never about me or my method or my thing. I listen well. I'm very relatable, very professional, and very experienced. And so they trust that I can help them.
Okay. So again, I get that answer a lot, even though it's a good one. It's just, so what I want to know too, and what I would suggest is after this session, go to your current clients who love you and know you, and I would ask them what was in their head when they were toying around between starting working with you and not, when they were trying to decide, and ask them what made them jump into it and what triggered them. And it's going to be, this answer is going to probably be super personal to them, meaning it was probably like I saw myself in the mirror and I was finally like, okay, I saw myself in an old photo and immediately I knew I needed to make a change. Or I finally, like I got injured for 12 weeks and I haven't been able to go to the gym since, and I was feeling really depressed about that or whatever. So these might be bad examples, but I would ask them, because this is the kind of stuff that you're going to have to use in your copy online to be able to know, like, what triggers, what's stopping your people online from talking to you and signing up with you, and B, what will trigger them to jump in. Like, what is that big why that they all have? And while it might be different for each client, you might notice a common theme, like, oh my gosh, all these professionals that I'm talking to, they all said it was something about appearance. They all said it's a mere thing. It's like I felt self-conscious at a party, whatever. Or they all said it was, you'll notice like a common theme. They were just feeling exhausted and burnt out and whatever. So I would take notes on that and say, okay, what caused you to sign up? What triggered you to, or what was stopping you or in your head that was happening before you signed up and what caused you to change your mind about that. And I would gather that. And then what you could do is like start to come up with some more urgent headlines and posts around those kinds of topics, because part of the problem too, like your content is so good. And this is something I've done for 2 years, like that I learned the hard way that I was doing this. Your content's great. I feel satisfied after I read it, and I feel no like jump to take the next step because I'm satisfied, right? So I think what might help too is in your post to address objections through, like, use your content to pre-frame and pre-motivate people to go to the link in your bio, sign up for a call with you. And so does that make sense a little bit? And so there's a few ways you can do that, and we could talk about it. But also one thing that I noticed in your bio was when I clicked on the link, it said your call to action was, let's see here, Transform Your Life, Elevation Plus. So I didn't know if because then it took me to a really cool page. And again, I loved looking at it because it was super clean. But I was confused because I was like, okay, what am I signing up for? Because I didn't know if I was signing up for a call with you, because it asked me for my email, then it asked me like how I found you, and then it turned into an application form before I even knew I was clicking on that. So is it an application to book a discovery call with you?
Yes.
Okay. So in that case, I would update your bio to say something like book your free, Transform Your Life intro call or whatever. You might have to make it shorter, but yeah, right. Because I was like, oh, what am I doing? Like, right. So I would change that, and I would make all your posts, try to gear them to booking a call with you a lot of the time. Not every single day, but more often. I didn't see it that often. So what's like your average? Do you have like any sort of number or feel for how many discovery calls you're booking a week or a month or anything like that?
I would say maybe just a couple a week.
Okay. A couple a week is actually a good start. And how are those people coming to you?
I guess a mix. The most recent client that I just gained, she came from Instagram, and she was looking for help with her nutrition. And so she said she randomly found me and started looking at my page and my information and wanted to talk. So she DM'd me, and we talked, and yeah.
Okay. So it is working. It's just not working at the level or at the speed that you want it to, right? So, okay, let's talk about that a little bit. So part of it is two things. I would go to your Instagram audience and to anybody, you probably already know this and you've probably already done this, but do some market research and ask really the only two things I feel you need to know that would fill in the gap a little bit for you is what results, and ask this to professionals, like ask this to your ideal client. What results would make you jump on and then insert the price of your health program, XXX at whatever dollars health program. And then exactly the kind of results that you should be making your stories about, your posts, etc. The other question is, what is stopping you? And then there's all the self-doubt, and it's the price and all that stuff. And so then you got to have like pre-made, like in your highlights, a section about objections or like FAQs about your program or something like that. Save it for any time before you have a discovery call with someone to send them so they can watch it beforehand. And also you'll have that on hand, and you can repurpose your posts using it when you have a launch and all that. So that's the first thing, is just go back and make sure you have those answers from your ideal client. The second thing is with the type of copywriting formulas that you're using, because like you're giving a lot of value, which is great, and keep doing what you're doing. The one thing that might help to add in is this. I'll share this formula with you if that's okay with you. Okay, yeah. So basically it's like a post to address a limiting belief or objection. So here's how it would work. You'd have the belief first. So you'd say something like, feeling guilty for spending any money on your health, or feeling guilty for taking the time to go to the gym when you have a family waiting at home or something like that. Then you want to understand or disarm the belief, like instead of attacking it and being like, well, you shouldn't, and no excuses, right? You're going to go into something that says something like, I totally get that. As somebody who works X hours a week, you know, who has clients to serve, I always used to feel guilty when I blah, blah, blah. Like you're just disarming the belief. Then you kind of want to discredit it. So you want to show them like, but now here's the but part. But so-and-so, you know, Ariana Huffington, the most like amazing rich woman in the world, she says that she spends 8 hours on sleep and blah, blah, blah on exercise, and says that actually enhances her productivity and whatever. Then you present an alternative solution. So some kind of tip to like for them to take the leap and not feel guilty about it. So that's where like the actual tip comes in. And then you can end it with like the call to action and next step. So you could say something like, this is where I would connect it to either something that starts the dialogue with you, where you can invite them to a free intro call. And that's the other thing we'll get to in a second about the calls. Give me 1 second. But so that's one thing. Or you could say, you know, I'm offering 3 people who have self-care guilt a targeted call that will help them specifically get rid of their self-care guilt or something like that, if that's a problem for your audience. I'm just making this up. But so does that make sense as far as like a little bit of a structure you can add in?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then with the calls, here's the other thing. So you're having people come to you and say, I checked you out on Instagram and I want to book a call with you. That is amazing. Like, find out how she found you. Like, look at her client avatar, like look at her page and who she follows and all the things, and like double down on finding people just like her. But also, how often do you invite people to like free intro calls and or a discovery call? Because here's the difference. Sometimes I tell coaches who are struggling to have a little bit more short, like maybe something like 20 minutes or 15 minutes calls to build their volume first and get a win no matter what, meaning you could get a review from that, you could get a referral from that, even if they're not a fit, but you could see if they're a fit and then invite them to a discovery call, and they have more touch points with you, and the trust is like cut straight to the, like you're getting in front of them, which is really important. So I have the 2 different types of calls, the intro calls and the discovery calls. So how often would you say you're inviting people to calls with you, either like through nurturing the relationship in direct messages and in the comments and all that stuff?
So I typically reach out to people on DM or through comments and ask them if there are other things that they have questions about or other things that they would like to discuss. Sometimes people answer, sometimes people don't. If I get a new follower, I'll say, thanks for following me. Is there anything in particular you're looking, you know, for more information on or any help with? And then, you know, depending on what they say, you know, wait for what they say and then go from there.
Perfect. That's always good. Yeah. You want to see who shares with you something that you can work with and be useful for, rather than like throwing them your resource that they didn't even know that they wanted or asked for. Yeah.
Totally.
So that's really beautiful. Good job. Yeah. And so I think how long, like, actually, let's go back to when your current clients, one of them found you on Instagram. What else? Where have your other clients found you?
One of them came to me from Yelp.
Nice. Okay.
And then a lot of them are referrals from, you know, existing, you know, word of mouth, which I feel like is always the best, historically speaking.
Totally. Okay. So with and what it sounds super obvious is like, let's double down on what's working. So if referrals are like a key thing for you, if you can make it super easy and fun for people to refer you, meaning like if you could start a new referral program where if they refer you, they get X dollars or they get X dollars off your services, or you could do this you could do the same kind of thing on your Instagram page, like a referral giveaway. And you could say something like, hey, and here's like an actual post you could do is say, hey, in honor of February or whatever, I am giving one spot in my elevated whatever program for a lucky winner who tags 3 boss professionals who want to get healthy below and comments why they want to be a part of the program. And really, so yes, you're giving something away for free, but like the referrals that will come from that, it would be helpful. So you're kind of doing it a little different because they haven't technically worked with you, but it can be a good way to get some more people on your Instagram. But then at the same time with your current clients, you could do something that is fun like that as well. Or literally ask each of them like, hey, I have X spots open for coaching. I just opened up a referral program. Here's how it works. Do you have any people you could send me and I can invite them to I could send them a personalized invite to a free call, or, like just make it as easy as possible for them. Mm-hmm. So have you like done anything along those lines?
So I've done referral incentives to people. If they refer me someone, I will give them, X percentage of like whatever program they sign up for, or, something along those lines.
Okay. Yeah. So I think maybe adding it to like an Instagram giveaway for, next 2 weeks, tag as many people. The more people you tag, the more likely you are to win. Mm-hmm. And, say why you want to be in the program. And what's also good about that is, somebody's getting a free spot in your program, but you're also learning who's actually paying attention and who actually wants to be in your program if they're commenting why they want to do it. Mm-hmm. So that could be good. And I think the last thing I would say is it's more like you just have, I would say from what has helped my business when I was struggling with content versus what actually helped me book more calls, was more directness, even though it's like in adding in that variety too. But like, for example, I'll post something in my Facebook group that says like, if you could get a solution, and you could do the same thing. Let's make it like into your statement or your language. So like, if you could get a solution for exactly what's keeping you from personally losing inches in a free 20-minute call, would you do it? Drop a heart below. In first 5 commenters, we'll get a 20-minute call this week or something like that. Because it's just like, you don't have to feel salesy about that because it's a free call. And I never, ever feel bad about offering a free frickin' call.
Yeah, because it's our time.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And B, you're saying first 5 commenters. So there's some urgency on it. And C, you're saying it's this week only doing this, right? And what's missing in your content, I think it's also just more time, you're doing well. It's not like you're not booking any clients, but what's missing is the urgency and like more direct calls to action to book a call,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, that's great feedback. I love that.
Cool. Yeah. And who does I'm just curious for our audience, who does do you do it? Your Instagram TV covers. They look
I
really
do it
nice.
all.
I love it. What do you use?
I use Canva to do the covers. Yeah.
There you go, you guys. Go look at Andrea as an example. I love it. Okay. So yes. And so do you have any questions about what we've covered just so far?
No, I think you've given me, some pretty specific things in terms of direction and some really good feedback in terms of being more direct. I think when we sit in the seat that you and I sit in, we're service-based, and I really genuinely want to help people. Mm-hmm. And I don't, I know I have a lot of expertise, and I feel like I've gotten feedback that I'm, relatable, and it doesn't seem like I'm not approachable or anything like that. But I had just posted something on my private Facebook group saying, I'm here for you. What do you have questions about? I could talk for days about things, but I want to help you specifically. So you need to tell me what you're struggling with, and then I can address it. And I feel like even when I'm that direct, sometimes it's still crickets.
Okay.
Which seems weird to me.
Right. So that's where the part of it's, do we have the right traffic, and where are they coming from? So that would be like, are you maybe starting to do some collaborations with people who have the exact like, and part of it too is your audience, the professionals topic, you could go anywhere with that. And so I think it's like, if you got even more specific and picked a specific type of professional, and then you could be like, oh, nurses, well, they all hang out on this page, or they love this podcast or whatever, and they're professional, right? But so I think that's part of the issue too, is that you're just like speaking to a lot of professionals and it's not like quite landing with them.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Part of it's just the outreach yourself. For people who aren't using paid traffic, unfortunately, it's like we just have to initiate conversations, do the DM stuff, invite them from the DM. Like I literally have a whole intro where ask them a question, get to know them, support them, give them something that is useful to them based on what they have said, ask how it went, invite them to a free intro call, that kind of thing. So it is a lot of, at the stage you're at too, is like, if you have not yet reached out to your followers who you already have, who like your stuff a lot, and and send them a welcome, like, and how's it going? And is there, just like you said, you already do with some people. I think more time spent on that, honestly, and less time spent on like beautiful, amazing, perfect content is a shift I would make, because I used to spend so much time on like making sure everything looked really good and sounded really good and copy was killer, whatever. And as somebody who's not paying for traffic to send to those things as of right now I do a little bit of stuff with Instagram, but not really. Don't use Facebook ads, haven't done anything like that. It's like it's your initiative that is going to move things along the fastest. And like you said, picking or like I said, specific niche, getting in front of their audience on podcasts or in collaborations or something like that, or partnerships, that could be really good.
Yeah, no, that's all really good feedback. I love that. So thank you.
Cool. Yeah. So mainly it's like, it's not necessarily landing. You sometimes do say that stuff, but they're not reaching out. Is there anything else you feel like isn't that's maybe getting in the way?
I try and do different polls and use some of the different things on the stories. There's so many bots. So a lot of times, there's just like so many bots that answer. And then, it's like the same people that are continuously like viewing your content, and then participating or not participating. So I have started reaching out more, but I do like your idea of, just kind of like a short, sweet, like 10 to 15 minute call or something, like, hey, do you want to jump on a call? I'd be happy to, answer some questions or talk through something that you're having difficulty with.
Yeah. Totally. And there's always going to be those people who, and this is something that you and I probably, because you were saying you feel approachable and you are very nice, you're going to have people who hang around the free samples table and just try to,
let's talk about that.
Suck you dry.
Yes. Yeah.
And so you do have to set some boundaries, and you do have to learn to be a sales killer, amazing person, because sales is what, if you know how to solve people's problem and you know how to sell, honestly, it's going to be very helpful. Do you feel like people kind of see you just, I guess, like, have you shared a lot of social proof regularly? And like, do you use big, bold examples of client results and your personal story? Like, I think some of that will help kind of lift you up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more about the free people and all that stuff.
Yeah, so I do share client testimonials. So the app that I use a lot with my virtual clients is Ladder. So there's a great chat feature on there. So I do post screenshots of, like wins and conversations, and add type in there for applicable things that other people are probably struggling with. The actual pictures of posting of people for testimonials, like a before and after, I really don't have a ton of those. So I have a few clients currently that I will be getting more of those from. And I know people like to see those things visually. So work in progress. I feel like that stuff just takes time. And then the people that, yes, the free things, like, they sign up for all the challenges, they do all the stuff, like, they're also like commenting and whatever else, but it's like they sign up for everything, like,
Mm-hmm.
and on my questionnaire, I have a, kind of like a qualifier in terms of what range people are willing to spend. And I know that that doesn't always mean that what they check is what they are really willing to spend. And I do have, a higher level offering, and then I do have some more manageable levels too, in terms of different offerings for remote virtual coaching. So I try and talk to the person regardless, see what it is they want and they're looking for, and then ultimately, they have to make an investment in themselves, whether it's something small to start, or if they, want to take the leap and go all in. And I'm, very confident in what I do and what I have to offer. So I've gotten better at, kind of putting it back on them, saying, well, you've been doing this, it hasn't been working, something has to change, so yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
That's kind of what I've been doing.
Okay. So the way I think what I would do if I was in your position is I would talk to all those people who've signed up for all the free stuff consistently, because they're warm leads, and it's not to say that they're never going to sign up. Sometimes the facts are, like, the statistics are, sometimes people need it. They sign up for something, and then 90 days later, they finally start deciding on what they're going to buy. Or same thing with, like, they need 8 to 11 touch points with you before they do anything,
Right.
So part of it is just patience, needing more consistent cold traffic coming in, that kind of stuff. But the other thing is, I would ask those people who've been lingering, either they're not your ideal client and we got to change the ideal client, because that could be the issue. Like, I personally don't tell anyone this is a big announcement, but I'm shifting my niche a little bit to be people who have booked clients before and are a little bit on their journey already, compared to the beginners, because I found the beginners, they aren't ready. They have some mindset stuff to deal with that I can help them with, but they don't pull the trigger. So anyways, long story short, you might have to shift to being that person for somebody else who is a go-getter and more specific in the professional. Second thing is, I would ask them to get on a 15-minute or 20-minute call with you and say, I love that you've done all my free stuff. I really appreciate you. First of all, I just want to ask you a few questions about, like, what has caused you to not reach out to me? What, like, not, don't say all this in a message, but, like, I'm getting some market research. I'm trying to update my program. Are you available for a quick chat? And a thank you, I'll give you either some free guide or free, because they love the free stuff, right? So give them something else in return for them doing that informational call with you, and ask them, like, what's stopping you? What are your pet peeves? Why is this not urgent enough for you? What would make it urgent? What price point would, and now I don't love asking price point in market research, because everyone's just going to say, oh, $20. Like, it's irrelevant. But you could say, what would trigger you to actually sign up with a coach, that kind of thing. And you might find from that, all these free lingerers, either you're attracting the wrong people completely and you got to change your niche, or you're finding that there's something that you haven't hit on yet, or that they don't see something that you see about the urgency for their health and the ROI when it comes to investing in your health, that you got to connect the dots for them. Because sometimes too, like with health, like I'm a business coach, so a lot of times people are like, well, it's easier for you because you're giving like a money ROI, right? Right. And so,
Right.
but with health, sometimes people don't connect the dots. And really, if you don't have your health, you got like, that is the most important thing to invest in, honestly. Right. I mean, I'm sure you agree with that. That is the thing. Like, if you don't have that, you can't work. You can't, like, it makes you more productive. It makes you make more money and have more confidence to like ask for a raise. It makes you feel like sexier in your relationships. Like it's everything. So they're not getting that. And so we need to figure out what's the missing piece or what would make it so urgent for them. And I think you'll be able to tap into that audience who've just been lingering and maybe get some good market research from that, and some calls, AKA some potential referrals, etc., that could help.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that.
Cool. Okay, well, I want to hear an update about how all of your homework goes.
Okay.
And you can share that either with me in the Health Coach Nation Facebook group or privately. But the key things, I think, for you is keep doing what you're doing, because it's really nice. And you have A+ on like your bio and your website and all of that, your branding. B, just find out what's the objections or stopping them, urgent things that you're not hitting on. Try changing up some of the posts to be a little more bold and objection busting. And more stories. Once you have those before and after pictures, obviously getting to those, getting those shared. The giveaway posts is something I would do with the referral thing. Tapping into your current clientele for initiating some. Yeah, cool. Okay. Do you have any other questions about that?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. So Andrea, sorry I talked a lot, but in these late sessions, I have to try to nail down. We got to get specific. We don't have the hour to.
Totally.
So tell everybody where they could find you and check out your amazing program and model how awesome you are doing everything.
Thanks. So yeah, I am on Instagram at Andrea_Wise. I hang out there a lot. I'm also on LinkedIn, Andrea Wise. You can find me. My website is andreawiselifestyle.com. My program has a separate website. My program's called Elevation Plus. It's a 90-day program where we address all of your kind of like, we take a holistic approach to nutrition, mindset, wellness, so that you can do something that's sustainable and stop with like the start, like all the yo-yo things. Yeah. So awesome. Solutions that work for you, not solutions that work for everybody else, but not you.
Cool. I love it. And thank you so much, Andrea. We'll put that stuff in the show notes, and we will talk soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Be sure to get your free gift over at HaileyRowe.com by joining my email list. And remember, you can always connect with me and other health coaches in the Health Coach Nation free Facebook group, where I post trainings and videos on how to take your health coaching business to the next level. Can't wait to connect with you. Have an awesome day.